August 17th. Lessons learned. So next year, I'm only going to seed right by the irrigation. The drip irrigation will dictate where I seed. I'm going to make a concaved shape with all of the beds so that they retain water to the maximum extent. I am going to, any transplants are also going to be, any transplants that need irrigation, they're going to go right next to the drip tape. If I have more, I just need to get more caps. And the other thing I want to do is I want to buy some caps that you can close off. And so if I'm growing something like the tomatoes, even though those tomatoes are with onions, so that wouldn't be a good example, but let's just say only growing crops that do not need the irrigation or no longer need the irrigation, then having that cap so I can shut it off. And then I have one bed here and like 3 or 4 beds down there that are not irrigated. I can make I could probably do a couple more up here. Really, I mean, look at all the space I have. I could really do anything I wanted with whatever extra dirt I get and make 1 or 2 or 3 more dry beds for your zooks and cukes. And, well, I'd like to get some meat birds, just have them during the growing season. These birds are, the thing is not feeding them really during the day or not putting food out for them during the day. It gives them a little more incentive to go after stuff, and I think they've done a better job. And we had our first 2 eggs in the last 2 days as well. And definitely grow more cukes. As well as I thought I planned, I ended up not following the plan, but I think if I did follow a plan next year better, I will have a lot more success. We gotta find next year any of the brassica varieties. I'm gonna have to make a special bed for them, line it with diatomaceous earth, a few other possible remedies to really make sure decrease the pests, because the pests are, kale is not marketable. And even the potatoes, the stuff I got out of this row was not great. It was definitely blighted, and they're crappy potatoes. I mean, I think there was about half and half, but half of the potatoes were not good. They had just like black holes in them, and you can't really, it's decent enough to eat, but you can't, it's just not worth it. It's just not a good product. I really like this bed. This is an example of really using space to the maximum. These tomatoes aren't great, but I like the spacing here, and I like the way that this is the way it's going. And if the onions were better in this row, this would also be a good example. I just need, and that comes down to, I gotta get some high quality manure. That's definitely an investment I'm gonna make. Get that really good, rich stuff, and I'm gonna have a lot better time, I think. And still adding anything, weed-free, weeding. This is where I would need to consider the mechanization. At least starting the season with a till. And also really utilizing the mulching, especially for transplants. So heavily mulching, take this row, I would mulch it, and then transplant whatever into it. I think that'll really, you know, and possibly here in this bed, these kale beds, I was trying to also do carrots, which I don't know, maybe you would want to put something that's more of a deterrent around the edge, or just mulch around the outside of the kale. Yeah, this dry bed we could do better. You can see how these, well, we'll see how these potatoes are. I'm looking forward to seeing if these are also blighted. I think these are better. But, yeah, this dry bed area here, I could possibly even add another long bed or 1 or 2 beds here. Though this soil right here is junk by itself, so I would have to really invest in it, so I don't know. But this concept here is working fairly well. I mean, just the visual here where you have bean, corn, and the see, one thing though, the bean trellising up the corn thing, I haven't had success with that. I mean, you can intercrop them like this. I think that works and can look good. And you can see I staked these up the old-fashioned way, but you know what? I think what you gotta do is just go boom, make a little, you know, triangle up here with 4 posts, 3, 4, and run your string your jute around there. I mean, this looks pretty good, but I think you could just, like, you can see there's these gaps. I had a hard time finding these sticks even around here with all the brush that we have, ones that would actually stick in there well. So I would just, you know, be a little more modern with it, have a lot better time. Oh yeah, these are looking pretty good. These Chinese cabbages.